You've been hearing me talk about an incredible program here in the Nashville area. It's been going on for over 30 years. The CASA program, Court-Appointed Special Advocates, has been serving the Nashville area, and more importantly, serving and speaking for abused and neglected children. Having the chance right now to visit with Adam Liff. He's a volunteer with CASA of Nashville. Adam, first of all, thank you for taking time out to visit with us. And, a couple of things that we've been talking about, Adam, is the fact 2 ways to get involved, either to become a volunteer or also to make a donation to the end-of-the-year program with CASA of Nashville. You've been a volunteer for 15 years. To our listeners that are thinking about, volunteering and being a part of this organization, talk about the rewards for you personally and what it's been like for you over these last 15 years.
Well, Johnny, first of all, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to acknowledge the work that CASA volunteer advocates do throughout the country. Last year we served 234,000 children with 75,000 volunteers out of 900 offices around the country. We've got a great organization in Tennessee, and Davidson County is well supported with Davidson County CASA. So if your listeners want to know how and where to get involved, it's TennesseeCASA.org, TNCASA.org. And there's plenty of opportunities for volunteering, for fundraising, for giving your time to paint the building or whatever needs to be done, because this is for the children. And how it's been meaningful to me, I've done all sorts of work in the nonprofit world, and it was meaningful, but nothing like this. You go into CASA work thinking you're going to change the world. Well, you find out the world's a pretty tough place, and it's even getting tougher all the time. But I've changed immensely as a human being, and my awareness of what these children need and what trauma does to a child, and why it's so important to get a child out of a traumatic situation, get them the services they need into a safe and permanent and loving home so they have a chance to thrive. Because when kids get traumatized as children, they become who we have to take care of as adults. So I recognize the day-to-day importance of advocating for a child who doesn't have a voice, but I also see the bigger picture in making sure that we don't let these children get hurt. These are abused and neglected children. They don't pick who their parents are. They don't pick who the boyfriend was or the neighbor or whoever abused and neglected them. But they have to bear the brunt of this abuse, and we have to take care of these children. So it's incredibly meaningful work. Tennessee CASA does great work, TNCASA.org. Davidson County does great work. And I got to tell you, DCS gets a bad rap a lot of the time, but they're really doing better. And Commissioner Henry and the new commissioner have done a great job. And our judge in Davidson County is way behind CASA and really supports us. So all is out there. If there's more children that need to be served, then we have volunteers. You can give money to train a volunteer. You can become a volunteer. You can, as I said, even come down and help paint the building when it needs to be painted. Davidson County CASA is at 601 Woodland Street. We work in the juvenile court, and we try and help kids who don't have a voice, who are there through no fault of their own. So, again, I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and you're on the right side of good, Johnny, when you bring organizations like this to people's attention, especially at this time of year, because children need help. And it's tough enough in the world, even if you got parents. But if you don't have any parents, you can imagine how tough it is.
Adam, I was going to say, before I let you go, for individuals listening right now that are thinking about volunteering but wondering if they're a right fit, one thing that I've noticed as far as the volunteers, and you start reading and getting more information about them, we're talking about all walks of life, all types of backgrounds as far as where they have been and where they are today. Is there an ideal fit as far as the traits and qualities of somebody who's looking to volunteer?
Well, I can't say it's an ideal fit. You need to be somewhat in control of your own time and schedule, because when the judge says you need to be there, or when the child needs you at a certain appointment or whatever, you pretty much have to be in control of your schedule. But more importantly, you have to be passionate about taking care of the world and a child. And the way I've found it to be helpful is if you put your last name, your own last name on the file, and you advocate for that kid as if it was your child, that's what an ideal CASA advocate does, is they advocate as hard for this child or this family as they would for their own family. So if you're passionate and you have time in your schedule, you have to do a 40-hour training. And after 40 hours of training, you'll know whether or not you want to do the work. It's not easy work, but it's incredibly meaningful. And it's really, really important that we look out for these children because, like the oil filter commercial used to say, you can pay me now, you can pay me later. And if we don't take care of these kids now, we'll be taking care of them later as adults with problems. So, again, Johnny, thank you for being a stand-up guy and putting this out there for people. They can volunteer their time. They can give money. They can write their legislators, their lobbyists, their congressmen. It's very, very important that we take care of these kids. And all colors, races, socioeconomic groups are welcome as volunteers because all races and socioeconomic groups show up in foster care. So we need to not think that it's just somebody else's family or somebody else's problem. It's everybody's problem.
We appreciate it, Adam, and thank you for taking time out with us, buddy. And
thank you.
And continued success. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Adam.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to do this, and you took time to put something out there that's really, really important. So you're a good man, Johnny Franks.
Thank you. You have a great day, Adam. Appreciate that. Once again, if you're looking for more information on how you can volunteer or make a much-needed donation, go to casanashville.org. That's CASA Nashville.org. And big thanks, too, for helping us get the message out to the Nashville Predators Foundation with their grant.